We begin this bulletin by the Russia-Ukraine war. The United States is working on allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russia. U.S. President Joe Biden has said that they are working on the possibility of lifting restrictions on the use of the U.S.-made weapons. Listen to this.
Will you lift restrictions on the use of long-range weapons by Ukraine? We're working that out right now.
This comes at a time when Western powers have said that Iran has delivered short-range ballistic missiles to Moscow. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has announced that Iran will be facing consequences for the supply of missiles in the form of further sanctions, including additional measures on Iran. Speaking alongside British Foreign Secretary David Lammy during a visit to London, Blinken also said that the U.S. expects allies and partners to announce their own new measures on Iran as well. Blinken and Lammy are set to make a joint visit to Ukraine, where they will meet President Volodymyr Zelensky and other senior officials to discuss bolstering the country's defenses. The leaders have asserted that together they are working to ensure that Ukraine can defend its territory against the ongoing aggression. Blinken has said ahead of the visit that the U.S. is not ruling out the possibility of allowing Ukraine to use Western-supplied missiles to strike deep inside Russia.
One of the purposes of the trip that we'll be taking together is to hear directly from the Ukrainian leadership, including Prime Minister Zelensky, President Zelensky, about exactly how the Ukrainians see their needs in this moment, toward what objectives, and what we can do to support those needs. So all I can tell you is we'll be listening intently to our Ukrainian partners.
But as Russia continues its aggression, the Kremlin is also trying to repel Ukraine's offensive in Russia's Kursk region. As attacks ramp up on both fronts, the UN has reiterated its call for an end to the war owing to worsening humanitarian needs and civilian suffering.
This war has gone on far too long. It has caused immense suffering and left more than 14.6 million people, or 40% of Ukraine's population, in need of humanitarian assistance. As it escalates, its toll will only increase. Protecting civilians and ultimately ending this war is a matter of will.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, citing the U.S. intelligence, has said that Russia has received ballistic missiles from Iran and is likely to use them in Ukraine within weeks. At the news conference in London, speaking alongside his British counterpart, Britain's Foreign Secretary David Lammy, Blinken said that Russia has trained the military to use the Fath 360 close-range ballistic missile system. These missiles have a range of 120 kilometers. He warned that such a cooperation between Moscow and Tehran threatens the wider European security.
Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine against Ukrainians. Russia has an array of its own ballistic missiles, but the supply of Iranian missiles enables Russia to use more of its arsenal for targets that are further from the front line.
The move was also condemned by Ukraine's Western allies, France, Germany, and Britain. In a retaliatory measure, UK canceled the bilateral air services agreements with Iran and resorted to a sanctioned airline, Iran Air. The three countries called on Tehran to immediately cease all support to Russia's war against Ukraine and halt the development and transfers of its ballistic missiles. UK also imposed sanctions that targeted Russian cargo ships, saying that they were being used to transport military supplies from Iran to Russia. Tehran has denied the accusations of supplying missiles to Russia for its war in Ukraine. Blinken at the conference said that the allies are planning to take further actions against Russia by introducing more sanctions against Iran for supplying missiles to Moscow. He condemned the People's Republic of China for sending weapons-related technology to Russia. This as Russian state news agency TASS quoted top security official Sergei Shoigu as saying that Iran and Russia have nearly completed the required procedures to sign a new bilateral defense treaty.